Alright guys, I think a lot of us can agree that the Total War franchise has undergone a slow transformation over the last decade, from grounded simulations of tactical pre-modern conflict into spectacle-driven hybrid experiences. And while newer titles have found their audience, a decent portion of the player base has continued to look back towards some of the greater games of old, like Medieval 2 Total War, a title whose depth, immersion, and modding flexibility as well made it a genre-defining classic. A group of these community veterans and indie developers have taken it upon themselves to build something called Project Renaissance, a spiritual successor rooted in the ethos and design of Medieval 2. Since the last time I covered this ambitious project, there have been some notable strides across campaign systems, battle mechanics, city generation, and AI development, but more than that, it has actually revealed a clear design vision, one that seeks not only to emulate the strengths of past Total War games, but to evolve them to make a strategy title where the world feels alive, conflict is multi-dimensional, and every tile on the map tells a story. In this video, I'll explore the most recent developments and updates of Project Renaissance and the road ahead for one of the most promising fan-led games in development today. Now, first and foremost, in Project Renaissance, the campaign map has made a lot of progress, with an environment in which seasons shift naturally, trees lose their leaves in real time, and terrain changes are not just aesthetic but systemic. The team has implemented a dynamic seasonal engine that adjusts textures, lighting, and foliage density across the map, and it's more than just a visual trick. These environmental changes can influence movement speeds, visibility, potentially future gameplay features like disease spread or crop yield. Alongside this seasonal system, new biomes are underway as well. Swamps are currently being integrated into the game's terrain logic, with early technical tests showing promise and a few humorous bugs. The inclusion of diverse biomes such as wetlands, mountain passes, dense forests will add strategic variation across the map, altering movement, defensive options, and possibly attrition mechanics as well. Further development on rivers, roads, and settlement adjacency reflects the team's understanding that geography isn't just a backdrop, it's a consideration for strategic decision making. So the terrain in Project Renaissance isn't just there to display some visual differences, it's there to shape your choices as well. Perhaps the most impressive progress in this aspect of Project Renaissance is its procedural city generation system. Cities are no longer cookie-cutter battle maps or static artwork on the campaign layer. They are unique, evolving entities, procedurally built from real historical layouts and architectural logic, and the development team has made rapid progress here. Over the past few months, a new iteration of the toolchain has enabled them to generate cities with interlocking buildings, courtyards, back alleys, and region-specific visual flair. And these cities grow both outward and upward, creating believable, dense medieval urban environments without sacrificing performance or visual coherence. Unlike previous Total War games, which often reused generic settlement models, Project Renaissance treats cities like living artifacts. A city like London won't just be named London just because it's there, it will look like medieval London. Streets will wind irregularly, slums may cluster near riverbanks, and major landmarks will sit at logical civic or religious centers. This is not just a cosmetic upgrade, it deepens immersion and raises the stakes for both conquest and defense. The developers are also, keeping all of this in mind, approaching the project with a much clearer eye on balance. Project Renaissance is aiming for a sweet spot between large enough to feel authentic and compact enough to be playable. Internal tests have shown that even with fully generated layouts and textures, load times and performance remain within acceptable ranges. Things are tactical and balanced, and all of this points to a procedural system that is not only powerful and interesting to play, but scalable. And the best part is, the long-term plan is to eventually have these cities evolve over time with the decisions that you make, events that occur, and more. A small trading hub might grow into a bustling capital, complete with upgraded walls, market districts, and expanded suburbs, visually reflecting the player's choices and economic investments on the campaign map. Now, strategic depth in a Total War style game doesn't just come from armies clashing, taking this city and that. It comes from why they clash, how regions are structured, and what's at stake. To that end, the team are experimenting with one of the most innovative systems that only a handful of Total Wars really tried to make effective use of. Kind of a cross between the province system and the single region system, featuring core cities and satellite settlements. Under this model, each major region includes one capital, so London or Paris or Milan, surrounded by smaller interactable nodes, villages, monasteries, granaries, you name it. And these outposts serve economic and logistical functions, of course, but are also vulnerable to raiding and attack. And that means that factions can exert pressure and provoke conflict without initiating full-scale war. Raiding a rival's farmland could cripple their winter food supply. Pillaging a trade node might trigger diplomatic retaliation. These actions blur the binary distinction between peace and war and reflect the fluid, opportunistic nature of real medieval geopolitics. Kind of akin to somewhere between maybe like Empire Total War and Thrones of Britannia. Now, while much of the focus remains on the campaign layer, work on the battle system continues in parallel as well. A new developer recently joined to work specifically on UI and camera functionality. Initial changes include battle command buttons, camera smoothing, and intuitive group selection mechanics, all vital foundations for future tactical complexity. And though unit animations and collision physics remain in development still, early work suggests a commitment to the core principles of grounded historical warfare, and that includes systems for unit cohesion, push mechanics, and mass elements, and lots more, that define the feel of a battle. A big charge from heavy cavalry must not only look dramatic, it must feel like it's colliding with massed infantry as well. And that's the bar the team is aiming for, which is great, because so much of modern Total War lacks that realistic, grounded feel of mass, impact, damage, casualty, the tactical choice that you have that comes out of all of these elements working together. And it's a very difficult balance to strike. I appreciate that. But hey, I like that they're ambitious in that way, and hopefully they can get to that nice balanced place with these battles. Behind all of these technical updates though, Project Renaissance is no longer a side project. It's an indie game with a growing team, a maturing pipeline, and a serious development roadmap. Over the past few months, the team has welcomed 2 new programmers, each contributing to key systems like AI behavior and performance optimization. This expansion reflects a move towards a more sustainable development model, one where no single dev carries the burden of the whole, and it also allows for parallel progress across systems, procedural tools, battle logic, campaign AI, economy modeling, and visual optimization that can all be worked on simultaneously. And just as importantly, the team doesn't just remain deeply connected to each other, keeping the whole bigger picture in mind, but they're also very connected to the community. Development blogs, sneak peeks, even humorous bug videos are regularly shared on the Discord and YouTube, and this opens communication that fosters trust and fuels excitement. This development isn't being built for a passive audience, they're actually building Project Renaissance with an active community. At a time when many strategy titles have embraced simplification or spectacle, Project Renaissance dares to go deeper. Its systems are layered, its tools ambitious, and its design philosophy rooted in the best traditions of historical strategic Total War gaming. This isn't just a fan homage, it's a reinvention, a game that takes the immersive grandeur of Medieval 2 and reshapes it for a new era with modern tools and community passion at its core. Overall, from seasonal terrain and procedural cities to raiding economies and emergent diplomacy, Project Renaissance is laying the foundation for a strategy title that is mechanically rich and alive in a way few games aspire to be. There's still a long, long road ahead, I'm sure. Battles to refine, economies to balance, AI to train, but the progress so far has been really promising, and hopefully they continue with their work. It is very, very ambitious, and there's a risk that projects like this get left behind as people move on and resources are lost. But so far, since the first time I heard about it over a year and a half ago, there has really been some great progress here. And that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, give it a like, drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below, and let me know what you think about Project Renaissance and their progress so far. If you're interested in learning more, by the way, and supporting the team, I've left a link to the YouTube channel where they regularly update videos every now and then, and the Discord server, of course, where you can go in there, talk to the devs, talk to like-minded players, and get involved with the vision that is Project Renaissance. Subscribe for more videos just like this, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.